Right. Week 2. And it's
Day 54 in the Big Brother house.
And it's become apparent that Alan is not very good at introducing podcasts.
No, I'm really not. 20 minutes too late. Week number 2, podcast number 2, possibly week number 3 actually. But we're now going to be doing bands and gigs and festivals that we've all been to and are going to go to. Who would like to start?
Well, I thought that a good place to start would be like just looking at the current situation on gigs, because like they're kind of not happening. And like I'm very uncomfortable.
Yes, my favourite gig.
But like, no, it's just like a good talking point, really, isn't it? Because like there haven't really been any for like a year roughly now, because of COVID. Scary word.
I thought you were going to do that then. COVID. It's a conspiracy.
On it.
No, I personally believe in COVID, you know, and think you're a bit of an idiot if you don't.
I mean, even if you don't believe in it, it doesn't make it any less real.
Yeah. But like, yeah, because personally for me, I've had a cat pulling on my wire for some time. I've had quite a few gigs be rescheduled because of COVID, which hasn't been the most fun. And like, obviously we were saying last week that we would have liked to tour this year, but this has kind of put our plans to bed, which I'm sure it has for quite a lot of bands. So like, it's been a bit of a like dead year for gigs. And I know like we were just talking about gigs that were coming up when we were like planning this, but like I can't remember what I was just going to say. This is a great start, guys. But like, it just, I think sometimes it almost feels like it's just not coming to an end. I know, Jacob, you were just saying like you almost feel like you don't want to book anything.
Yeah, for like this year, or at least until like end of this year.
Yeah, because it feels like it's a bit like uncertain whether things are just going to get rescheduled again.
Then you have to go through the hassle getting refunds if it gets cancelled.
Yeah.
I already did that enough last year.
But then it's free money.
And now, but it's like I'm spending
like
money now to then just get it back in like another time when I don't need it.
It's a savings account, a very useless savings account.
Yeah. So I think like that's a pretty big thing. Like, it's all well and good to like plan a podcast talking about gigs, but like, do they even exist? Like,
who knows at this point?
They seem like a very foreign concept at the moment. Like, my student loan came in, and not that it's meant for that, but I bought like a lot of gig tickets. I was like, because like gigs are very important to me. Like, they're very cathartic. Like, obviously I have a lot of mental health issues, and I find them very helpful to like kind of get me through. And I know that a lot of people feel like that. And like, I was like, maybe COVID will be gone this year. Like, I'm going to buy loads of gig tickets. And like, I'm trying to keep kind of a brave face on it and like look forward. But there is that seed of doubt, like you were saying, like, are they going to happen? So I don't know. Like, it is a very strange situation to be in, definitely. For someone like me, and I guess someone like you as well, who goes to like so many. Like, I normally go to like at least one a week, usually more.
Yeah.
It's a bit mental. Like last year, or I was saying to Alan the other day, like last year almost doesn't exist in my brain. Like, I'll constantly be saying something to someone and be like, oh, last year. And then I'll be like, wait, I actually mean 2019.
Yeah.
Nothing happened last year. Like, we were all stuck inside.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, it's only been like a few days of 2021, but it's not. It's been an entire month nearly.
Yeah.
Oh my god, yeah.
Like,
Like,
I was saying as well, like, I started a job now a year ago, and
Wait,
it
really?
in March it's been a year, and for me, I've been in the office for a maximum of 2 months. That includes all my training. Like,
Yeah.
the one day I had to go in because I had no internet, and it's crazy. Like, I don't.
do you not
see,
think?
like,
Sorry, I thought you were
no,
finished.
go on,
That
go
was
on.
so rude.
I was just gonna word vomit basically.
Do you not think it's mental that in like a few weeks it'll have been a year since we recorded Trouble?
No, you mean release trouble even? Looking at say it's been well over
No,
a year since we recorded it.
we released it in April,
Yeah, we recorded it in like.
February.
Oh, was it
We
February?
We recorded it, I'm sure, in February,
I
but
thought it
then
was
we were
slightly
waiting. We were waiting so long on the video and trying to get that finished that it came out in April because it came out during lockdown.
Here's a good question for you. How long have I been in the band now?
No idea.
2
I'll
years.
keep track of when people join.
Nearly 2 years. Because
But like, yeah, because
it'd
last
be
year
like-
didn't exist.
yeah, it'd be like it's somewhere about a year and a half. Because I joined after the music video, and
Yeah, I saw
yeah,
I joined after the music video, which was done in about March.
yeah.
Of
Last year
2019.
just feels like it didn't happen. Like whether it's like
Was it 2020?
band events or like life events or like gigs and stuff, it just literally feels like last year was a blur.
It was
And
released
like
in March. No, the video was done in winter, wasn't it?
I don't
no,
know. I'm so confused. Everything's like
we
so
released the video in April. I'm
Yeah.
telling you.
But
By
it
all
was that
means, check
start
on.
of April.
No, I know that, but like the actual recording of it was done a while before that.
Yeah, because we had to upload the video 2 weeks before it actually came out.
And then we
Which means
obviously
that it
had
was
to
still
wait.
done in
And then-
like March.
And then there's still like there was a couple of weeks of editing, so it might have been late
Yeah.
February.
Like,
Either way, 2020 was a month. And
yeah, so anyway, guys,
back on subject.
moving on, which I was trying to do.
I don't
but you
do too well.
kept going. But yeah, so like, kind of the point I was getting to was like, one of the things that it's so many of my gigs have been rescheduled, but like one of my gigs that I've got to go to, no, like I am excited to go, but like Set It Off was meant to happen in October 2019.
Yeah.
Like not even 2020, 2019.
Yeah.
So like if it got rescheduled to like May 2020, and then it got rescheduled again, and it's now meant to happen in like May 2021. And if it gets rescheduled again, it might be happening like literally 2 full years after it was originally meant to happen, for like just a normal gig, like not a festival. Like for big festivals, I can kind of understand because they just move it a full year, obviously.
Yeah.
Because it's such a big commitment for all of the bands involved, and for the festival organisers to organise all of those bands. But for like a one-off show, like one band, it's so insane that might have been rescheduled like 2 whole years. Like the other band, obviously I Prevail, it's not been as bad because it's been like what, a year or something. I'm not really sure. I haven't kept track of it as much, but like it's actually meant. Oh, it was March 2018.
Yeah, I
No.
think the worst. I was going to
No,
say, I think the worst part.
2019, 2020. What the fuck? I
2020.
just said
It's one of them.
2018. 2018. I'd be fuming. Yeah, it's because it was Froggy's birthday. It was March 18th last year, not March 2018.
But that's the thing. That was the most annoying one because there was no like sign of it coming. Like all of a sudden everything started kicking off at the start of March, and then you're like, oh, it might still be fine though, and then all of a sudden like it was like 3 days before or something like that, or maybe a week at most. It's just like, oh, it's cancelled, and then from that point on everything was cancelled. But I think that was the first one.
I think they were definitely some of the kind of first gigs for us and they were very much like immediately before. Like we really thought we were going to those gigs.
Yeah.
We were like, yeah, it's fine. They've not said anything, and then like, no, thank you. Get down.
It's weird how bands do that.
I mean, they will be doing if COVID carries on.
And then like literally, like the week before, it was just like an email announcement, and we were like, oh,
yeah,
damn it.
The big sad.
But hopefully they'll happen in May, and that'll be good. You never know.
Yeah, I'm not holding hope for May, but if it happens, I will be very happy.
I'm very much holding hope because I have gigs booked in April. So.
I'm not holding hope for anything because I don't want what happened last year, which was, oh, it might be sorted by this time, isn't. Might be sorted by this time, isn't. And like you just let down the entire year. Whereas if I start this year going, nothing's gonna happen this year. If anything happens, it's a good thing. Like I just would be disappointed.
And then you don't get tickets, and then you're like, oh, I missed my chance to get a ticket.
Well,
download won't sell out, but
we've kind of like already started talking about things that we're going to by default because we're talking about what's been rescheduled. So let's stay on that track, and we can talk about things we've already been to afterwards.
Yes.
So obviously, we're going to I Prevail because that's already been rescheduled.
Yeah.
And then I've got Set It Off because that's been rescheduled like constantly. And then from what I've gathered, we're all going to Bring Me the Horizon, which I wasn't going to say, but you know.
But here we go, stealing my thunder.
Well, I'll pass that on to Alan. Alan can talk about it. Go on.
So we're going to Bring Me the Horizon. In September. In Birmingham, so it's gonna be good. It's gonna be the first time I've seen them live.
Oh wait, you guys are going to the Birmingham one. I might not be going to the same one as you guys then.
Good.
Because I think I was planning to go Sheffield.
Okay. It's been a while since I've been to Birmingham, like years. Like I was still in uni when I went to Birmingham last. I don't know my way around or anything, so
I mean, if we can all travel together, I'll happily go Birmingham.
Yeah. Probably.
Yeah.
Train,
so
megabus, one of the two.
Yeah, I usually get a coach, and I go to quite a lot of gigs in Birmingham, so I kind of roughly know my way around. But like basically, our reasoning is because Birmingham's the only one on a Saturday.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And because me and Chloe obviously don't have our timetables for next year yet, and it's in September. We can't go to the one that's on a Sunday or any of the weekday ones because traveling there or back will be quite a long journey no matter where we're going. So Birmingham's the only one that really makes sense for any of us because Alan won't have to get time off work and me and Chloe won't have to skip uni. We can all just go down on the Saturday, and if we want, we can stay overnight, but we don't have to. We can just get the coach back, and it'll just be chill. I
mean, I'll probably end up taking off the Friday and Monday anyway for like prepare and recovery days. And, you know, relaxation.
I wouldn't have any holidays left if I took them off for every gig.
Yeah, literally. Like, I don't have a job, but that's irrelevant.
Yeah. Well, I'll take it off if it's like something like if it's one that's close by and I can get back and still be like in bed and asleep by a reasonable-ish time, so like before 1 o'clock, because it's 2 o'clock-ish, I won't take any time off. But then if it's like really far away or finishes really late or it's just a really big one, then I'll book time off. But yeah, it's like with like you've thought about it a lot with Bring Me, whereas I just kind of went, oh, where's closest? Sheffield, and assumed I'd be going to that one without actually looking at the dates properly.
Yeah, that kind of makes sense though. Like, I looked into it straight away as soon as they like released the tour dates, because I like really badly wanted to go and see them ever since I saw them at All Points East. So I kind of looked into it and I was like I know Alan will want to come with me because we've been talking about going to see them like for ages in the band room. And I knew that Chloe would want to go see them with us. So and I was like, I think I noticed pretty quick, I was like, this is the only one that's really feasible because it's on a Saturday. But I kind of waited for a few weeks and I was like, guys, this is probably the one we're going to. And then I bought all the tickets because Chloe, I'm buying it for her birthday because it's the 21st. And it just made sense to buy them all together after that. And Alan's paying me back. But yeah, it's going to be a good gig. I'm really looking forward to it.
Same.
They were sick at All Points East.
Top notch. And before that, we've got Yumi at 6 as well.
In
July?
Yes, I believe. Yeah, 12th of July.
Nice little...
And Slam Dunk?
Maybe. Big maybe.
I'm going to Slam Dunk.
I'm a maybe. I've got to see.
I'm a probably... I don't have any hopes for it anyway because it's in May, so that's quite soon.
Is it still at Leeds Uni, or is it moved?
It's in like a field in Leeds now.
Oh, okay.
Was it in a field? Ah.
I enjoyed it when it was at Leeds Uni because like there's a nice little end out.
Could like
areas.
Yeah, it was easier to. Well, it's probably easier to move around. Guys, help!
Do it.
It's probably easier to
Move around.
Maneuver around the field, but it's harder to get to and get from. Whereas the uni was really easy to get to travel actually to it and from it. But I think it's just one of them things where rather than trying to travel back the same night, I'll probably just stay in Leeds, which you got to do what you got to do, I suppose.
Yeah. I'm wondering if they're going to have any more band announcements.
20 years too late.
I think so, because obviously now that it's been rescheduled, they've got the opportunity to do that. And didn't some of them drop out as well?
Yeah, I think so. I think some of the bands had already dropped out.
They've already announced everyone that's going to be there that was already on the previous year. Does that make sense? Like everyone who was meant to be doing it last year, who's now still doing it, they've already announced. So if there's still spaces, then they'll still announce people. But yeah, I'm seeing Yumi at 6 again in Manchester on the 21st of May because I booked that before they decided to announce they were doing intimate shows in Preston. So yeah, but I probably would have gone anyway. Yumi at 6 are really good live, so it's chill. So I'm fine with that. Am I the only one who has anything to talk about in terms of who I'm seeing now?
I mean, my two are done.
Because Jacob's just said he's not booking anything else.
No. So I've already got Enter Shikari booked for June. So
okay,
that was
sound.
Well, no. So originally that was supposed to be. They did a thing where it was like, oh, we're doing some really small intimate shows. I think it was in Leeds or something like that in April, and then obviously that just straight up got cancelled because they were like, oh wait, we were planning a tour for the end of the year anyway, like a bigger tour, so we'll just do that. So then they did the big tour, so I got tickets for that, and then that's been delayed till May now, June, dates. What are they? I think it's June. I think it's June now. So I've already got tickets booked for that. And then the Slam Dunk, which I don't have tickets for. Download, I really want it to happen. I have also put that I do want to go to Bloodstock this year as well, Bloodstock Festival. But that might be dependent. Like if I go, say Slam Dunk and Download both happen, and I go to both of them, I probably won't.
Yeah,
But
that
then
makes sense.
It's like if I don't go Slam Dunk and I only go Download, I might go Bloodstock. But then if neither Slam Dunk or Download happen, but Bloodstock does happen, then I'll definitely go. Because at that point, I'll still be itching to really just go to any gig. Then obviously I Prevail, Bring Me, and then I also had Lamb of God that was postponed from I think November last year to December this year. So hopefully that'll be that's December. So I think I can kind of hope that one's on.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Well, I've got Neck Deep and Stand Atlantic in April, which I'm really hoping. April isn't that far away, but I'm like, if people are getting vaccinated, then I'm going to keep my fingers crossed. Like, so yeah, in April, I have those two, and it's totally going to happen. Guys, everyone pray for
100%.
me. And then in May, that's what comes after April, sorry. I have With Confidence, who I have wanted to see for a while now because I got into them very recently.
I honestly thought April comes after May, and I'm saying that with confidence. Or May comes after April, whichever way you said, the right way.
My brain hurts.
I probably, do you know what would be funny if it turns out I said it the wrong way?
Yeah.
And you all just sat there and was like,
yes,
yeah.
Yes.
Like it wouldn't be unlike me to say it the wrong way around with my like concentration issues and crap. In my head then I went, don't say shit.
Oh.
So I went, crap. Anyway, and then, right, I'm very excited about this. I have a My Chem romance.
It works.
I thought you were going to say Roach.
I have a My Chem ticket for Milton Keynes on the 17th of June that I somehow like wrangled, and I don't know why, like, because it was expensive, but it wasn't that expensive. I was like, I'm totally just going to buy one on resale. I don't care how much it is. And they were all like £120 for a seated ticket. And I'm like, I'm not going seated. Seated is not a thing. So then I was looking at like standing tickets and they were like £300. And then I was like, I'm just going to check all the sites. And one of the sites had like one standing ticket for like 80 quid. And I was like, someone must have just like decided that all this like rescheduling wasn't worth it and got a refund. And now I'm lucky because I'm having it.
Yeah.
So now I'm seeing My Chem and I'm like, all of my little fangirl dreams are becoming a reality. So yeah, hopefully My Chem are actually going to be playing on the 17th of June and COVID is not going to ruin my dreams. But yeah, and then so I'm hoping I can go see All Time Low. I'm pretty sure they've sold out, but I will quite happily play.
I would happily play with All Time Low as well.
Yeah, so would I.
Yeah.
But I would quite happily pay resale prices to see All Time Low. And also, obviously, there's that big tour that's Fall Out Boy, Green Day, and Weezer that also has definitely sold out. But again, I would pay resale prices to see them. I want to see Water Parks, but I'm on holiday at the time. So I would have to like travel to go to one of the later shows and probably go to like London. So I'm not sure if I'm going to do it at the moment. Like I've done it before. My washing machine is kicking off at the moment. But like I've been to like London to see like Busted and I've been to Birmingham to see other people and stuff. So like it's not like I've not done it before. It's just like whether I feel like doing it at the time and whether gigs are actually going. I kind of feel like I don't want to buy a ticket for a London show right now.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, Bring Me is different because that's a big thing. And then like the other thing I kind of made a note of was like people that haven't announced a tour yet, but who I think will if touring starts. And that's the Pretty Reckless, because their album comes out next month. So if they announce a tour, because we were originally going to go to Download. I don't know if you're still planning to, but I'd already said that like the only people I really want to see who are going Download is the Pretty Reckless, and I can't really justify that. So obviously, hopefully they're going to announce a tour because it's their first new album in ages. In which case I'm going to go see them, obviously. And hopefully Demi as well, because she's planning on releasing an album this year. And, you know, I would literally kill to see her again. Not that I'm psychotic for Demi or anything, but
not at
I
all.
promise I'm not.
I'm like in love with her, so
I have
that's
to
fine.
dress up as a. Whenever I go see Sally, it's just I've got to dress up as Demi.
Yeah, we role play Demi Lovato.
Look,
So
I don't have to try
yeah.
to sing, so that's like the one upside.
Yeah, totes. So yeah, that's about it for me for like bands I'm going to see at the moment. Oh, my drink ran out. I mean, I've got another one ready, but I was enjoying that one.
It's
I'm
Jacob's
depressed.
time.
Well, I was going to say, so but while we're on the topic of like gigs that have been cancelled and gigs we're looking forward to if they actually happen, have you guys done any like bought any tickets and seen any band like the online gigs?
No.
Oh,
'cause-
that's
What about them?
interesting.
Because I've done a few of those.
See, I haven't just because I don't feel like I would get the same experience from it. I
Oh
feel
yeah,
like
it's not the same.
I feel like I pull a lot from just the physicality of being in the crowd and like being up close to them and like hearing it live. And I don't think I would really like. I obviously don't have a lot of money. Like what I don't get from my student loan, I'm on benefits, and I can't really justify paying money to watch something online when I can. This is going to sound really bad, but I can just watch videos of them live.
Yeah. No, I get that. So I've done 3. First one was Chugga Boom, and that's because they're a tiny band. So one, I wanted to support them anyway. And 2, they don't have any like live videos online or anything like that, not of a professional quality. This was the first time they were actually doing a gig in front of like professional cameras and everything. So I did that one, and then another one of my favorite bands, Cold Rain, did it. And they're another one where they're a small band. They do have live videos, but they're ones where they never come to the UK. Like they're massive in Japan, but in the UK they're tiny. So I was kind of like, okay, and I also want to support them as well. And then Avatar is one that's happened recently, which is the same kind of thing. It's just like the bands that, like, if it was a massive band where I can see any of the gigs online, like a Slipknot or something like that, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
Because I can watch full gigs of them online. But when it's small bands where I want to support them anyway, and it's not expensive, like you were saying, it's nothing like an actual gig. Like the experience is completely different. But I don't know. It's almost kind of like with all the doom and gloom of bands not being able to do gigs and stuff like that. I feel like I want to support bands more.
Yeah.
Through this time, because I don't want to lose it. Like there's already a few bands that have like where people have left because they can't do it anymore, or they've just completely stopped because of COVID. That I'm like, no, I will keep all the bands that that I cherish.
Yeah.
I will pay all the monies.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just thought that was the good thing to add on to obviously talking about the.
Yeah, definitely, because it is quite
gigs.
a big thing that people have been doing.
I've not been watching like live, but I've been watching, like Sally said, live recordings of people. Like done a few for like Foo Fighters, Paramore, not 36 Tomorrows, Red Hot Chili Peppers, completely different. So
I was
I've
gonna
been
say-
watching them back.
Sorry, I thought you'd stop. Go on.
No, I have now.
Oh, okay, right. You just wanted to add a couple more words on the end.
That's it.
Like before, there was live from home gigs and everything like that right at the start of lockdown, and I was really missing going to gigs. I'd just watch like hours and hours of gig footage straight.
Mm.
Like I'd watch like 3-hour shows from bands, just sit there watch it. But it makes me sad at the same time.
Well, we can hope with all our hearts that they come back this year. I think obviously we talked
Ali, I'm
about
really sorry
this
to interrupt you. Can we cut for a second? Dog's being sick again.
Yeah, I'll pause. What were we talking about before Jacob's dog rudely interrupted?
Yeah.
I mean, no blame on your dog. Blame on Jacob.
I had to clean it up.
I think the point I was gonna make was that like this year hopefully things can resume, because like I would really like the opportunity to actually play this year.
Yes.
Like
100%.
obviously we touched on that briefly last week, but we are a band at the end of the day, and like however much I would
Shit, are
like
we?
I would desperately. I just burped. I promise I'm a lady. Like, however much I am desperate to get back into seeing people live, like I really am. But like, I would like really like the opportunity to play this year. Like, I feel like we've just been waiting and waiting and waiting, and like we're struggling for transport and whatever, but I feel like this situation has probably, well, I don't know about you guys, but it's gotten me to the point where I would like do anything to make it happen.
Yeah.
Like I would carry everyone's equipment on a train if I had to.
Yeah.
Like if we got a gig, I would be like,
Except Jacob's.
let's go.
Like Jacob's.
I wouldn't care. I would make it work.
Yeah.
Because like we're obviously on both sides of it. Like we want to go to gigs and we want to play gigs, so it's pretty hard for us, really. Like
any gig will do.
Yeah.
Like,
any dream will do. Any dream. Any dream. Any dream. Any dream will do. Speaking of which, I've seen Joseph and his amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. Like
Same.
It was sick. I think it was like some guy who was on X Factor who played Joseph, and he was pretty.
I remember seeing something about that. Like,
I wasn't that lucky.
it was in Preston. He was hot. He was just up there in like his loincloth, and I was like, I watched it with my mum, and it was a bit weird, but.
I'm gonna get a loincloth.
I'm glad you said it was weird. Like it could have been worse. You could have been like, "Oh yeah," I turned to her and went, "High five."
I mean, to be fair, me and my mum talk about everything. Like me and my mum literally talk about like sex toys and shit. Like we're like best mates. Like, come on, I'm 26. Like
I like how off topic we've managed to get.
like if you're 26 and you're not best mates with your mum as a female, like
I am as well.
Like, what are you doing? You should be able to talk to your mum about literally anything. Like, unless obviously you've got a really bad relationship with your mum. Like, I get it in that situation, but like, go to your mum and literally say anything to her, and I promise you, she's gonna understand, and she's probably gonna have a laugh about it. Like. But you know what? We'll cover that in a different one.
Unless it's Jacob's one where she promises you things and never delivers on them.
Well, that's just you, Alan.
We'll cover that in a different one. Moving swiftly on. So yeah, I guess at this point we'll move on to gigs that we've been to. Talk about that. Who wants to go first?
I'm scratching it with my hand.
I think Alan goes first because he's probably got the shortest list.
Yeah, I've got the shortest list. I mean, that will like really rude, but no, I do. I guess I can start with festivals. So the one that everyone would have heard of, hopefully, is Slam Dunk. I went to that when I was first or second year college, so many years ago. I'd say when, but I don't know where the T-shirt is, so it's somewhere.
Okay, well, let's kind of all talk together then, because I feel like some of these are going to intermingle.
Yeah.
Because, like, obviously we've all been to Slam Dunk at some point, I think.
Yeah.
So, do you have more to say on the topic of Slam Dunk?
All Time Low, sadly, weren't that good at it, but I have heard that, and I've seen a few live videos where they are actually good live, and it's not just them. Death of Honor, 100% the best band there at the time. I think they were just fully getting really big after releasing the one song that everyone knows, Friends Like These, which is annoying as hell. And there was some random, a YouTube rapper that I've completely forgot the name of, but he was fun to watch as well. And then there was the Heaviest Stage, which I don't remember much from, but I think Sleeping with Sirens may have been there, maybe.
Well, that was definitely a long time ago then.
Yeah, very long time ago, many moons ago.
Yeah, in that time they've stopped being heavy and then gone back to being heavy again.
Yeah, it was good. Like, what was the best part for me is I was the only one. I was 18, so it would have so probably second year. I was yes. The only reason I know that.
Well, I was 18.
I was 18, and the only reason I remember that is because I was the only one that was 18 out of everyone I went with, and I was the only one that was allowed to drink because I had the special wristband. So it was great. 100%.
Special wristband for special boy.
Special wristband, special boy, special privileges. And if I keep saying special, I'm going to say it wrong. So, yeah, I was the only one to drink. So it would have been 8 years ago that I went.
Yes.
There you go. That adds. That's all I've got to say on the matter for now until like something else pops up. There's a video of Death of Honor. You can see the back of my head. I'm the tall blonde one.
Okay, well, I'll go next. I've been to Slam Dunk twice. The first time I went, it was like I just picked a really good year by accident. And like I went and I wasn't accustomed to festivals at all. And was that the one? Yeah, so this one I basically broke out of hospital for. Like I just attempted suicide. We're gonna have to put a warning on this now.
Yeah.
And like I had my psych evaluation, and normally they kind of keep you around for a bit until they've like figured everything out. And I was like, look, I need a reason to live, and I've got these tickets, and it's for tomorrow. And if you don't let me go, then I'm basically just gonna try again, because you're gonna be taking away things that matter to me. And they were like, that's fair reasoning, I guess. Like, as long as you keep up with your crisis team appointments, I guess you can go. So I just kind of went.
So you didn't actually break. I thought you were going to be like, and they said no, so I snuck out my window.
Well, I didn't stay and wait for discharge and stuff. I just kind of left.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks, bye.
And then they sent my discharge to me, like, in the post, and it was chill. Like, I kind of knew they were going to. It was like all fine. But I was like, I'm not waiting and taking the chance on someone else saying no. Like, she basically said it was fine. So I'm just going to tell my mum and I'm going to go. Like, so my mum came to get me. I was sat in like, what's it called? Like, basically like a maternity ward where they put me. It was really weird. Like, they put me on a ward where people were all pregnant. And I was like, this doesn't seem like the place to put someone who's really depressed. But anyway, so my mum came to get me and I was just kind of sat there waiting. And they hadn't given me any of my meds or anything, obviously. So I had to sort that out later. But yeah, and then I went to Like I had Slam Dunk and then I had Busted, but I'll talk about Busted later. I went to Slam Dunk and Ollie was like, obviously quite worried about me, but he was like, what do you want to do? And I was like, I'm just going to stay here. So he dropped me at main stage and he was like, just come find me if you need me. And I was like, I'll just be here. Just come get me at the end. And he was like, okay, fair enough. So I just went like straight to the front of main stage and just stood at the barrier. And it was literally like Moose Blood, Young Guns, Newfound Glory, Yellow Card, Mayday Parade, and Panic at the Disco straight after they released Death of a Bachelor. And he like basically performed like Death of a Bachelor and like some of their older stuff and Bohemian Rhapsody on piano. And it was sick. And it was the first time I'd seen Mayday Parade and I loved them from that point onwards. And like every band was sick. Except Yellow Card, they had technical issues. They were meant to play Ocean Avenue in full.
Love that song.
The album.
Well, the song.
I mean, that song is obviously on it. But yeah, they were meant to play it in full, and they had technical issues, so they could only play like 2 songs in the end.
Ouch.
It's a bit weird. But every other band was sick. Newfound Glory weren't as good as I was expecting them to be, but it was kind of just the experience, you know. So yeah, that was sick. It was the first year I'd ever been to Slam Dunk, and it was the full pop punk experience. You know what I mean? Like, you go to Slam Dunk and you just see like Newfound Glory and like Yellow Card and like all these bands on one stage from the barrier, all in one go, and I was just like, this is sick. Like, I just came out of hospital and I've just been like blasted with all these bands. And then I went to Busted like the next day. And I was like, Wheatus, Busted, this is sick. Like, I'm having a great time. Who cares how I was feeling like 3 days ago? So yeah. And then the next time I went to Slam Dunk, I'm pretty sure it was the next year. And that time I moved about quite a bit. Like the main stage was weird that year. Like normally the main stage is like the proper pop punky stage, and then the other ones are like there's a heavier one which is like Impericon stage, and then there's like others that are a bit more like obscure. And then for some reason that year they had like Crossfaith on the main stage.
So that was the year I went then.
Yeah. And like I watched Crossfaith, I thought it was really good, but I was like, what have they done this year? And then like, but then I had to go back to Impericon to see I Prevail, and then Medina Lake were at Impericon, who are really pop punky and barely heavy at all. They have like 2 screams in each song, and they're really like girly screams. I love Medina Lake, but they are. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I love them, but it's just who they are. And then, like, it was just a really bizarre year. Like, the bands were just really mixed up.
Yeah.
But that was where I kind of became a fan of I Prevail, as it were. But me and Ollie spent a lot of that year sat on the floor in the bar areas. It was just a very strange year. And then I wanted to go the next year, which I believe was either that year or the year after that was like the all-time low year or the Good Charlotte year. And I was just like, not sure it's worth it. So I stopped going.
I was gonna say it was one of those years, Bullet for My Valentine or something like that. I think it was like Bullet and then Good Charlotte on the second stage, something like that.
Yeah.
Or All Time Low, one of them.
Yeah.
I know Bullet headlined one of them.
So that was the point I stopped going. Because I not only could I not really afford it, but each year it just wasn't quite to my taste, and I needed there to be just a little bit more.
I think my main issue with Slam Dunk seems to be that the longer it goes on, the less bands I'll enjoy there, but the more expensive it is. Yeah. So it becomes like less cost effective every year.
It was after they moved it to the field. As soon as
See,
they
I've
moved
never
it
been
to the
when it was to
field,
the
No, I've
field.
never been to the field.
it's gotten more expensive. Like
Well,
now it's about 80 odd pound.
So
For me,
was
it
the
was
year
like
that we
30
both
quid.
went? Yeah, it was 40 when I went.
42 if you 42 without the after party, 49 with it.
Yeah, I
That's
didn't do
how
the
much
after
it
party.
was when I was going.
Yeah, but yeah, because when I went the same year as you, Sally, because that was the thing I was going to say, because you were talking about how pop punk it was, and I was like, but when I went, it really wasn't, because
Yeah,
I think on the main stage you
yeah.
had. So you had Crossfaith, who definitely aren't pop punk. You had Buried Tomorrow, who definitely aren't pop punk. You had Enter Shikari,
Beartooth.
who definitely aren't. Yep, Beartooth are kind of just like heavier pop punk. Like they've got pop punk roots.
Yeah, I'm not
I
saying
like
they were like
Beartooth, but I wouldn't
heavy,
say.
but they were on there.
Yeah,
I'm not
but that
sure,
was the one I was forgetting. I think the only really, I think, is it We Are the Ocean and Don Broco were like the two
Yeah,
pop punky ones. Well, then I really didn't enjoy Don Broco, but that's just. I think
Yeah.
my
I think
I
they were
didn't
there when
stay
I
for
went as
it.
well.
Wait, say?
I think they were there when I went as well.
Possibly.
Right.
My main issue with them was just the fact that I'd never listened to them, but everyone was there for them. So like everyone had like Don Broco masks on, and it was like a massive thing. And like at the time, I was just kind of like, I just don't know who they are, so I can't really get excited. And then the whole
Everyone's,
thing
like,
didn't seem to be about their music.
obsessed.
Yeah, well, that's what it didn't seem to be about their music. It seemed to be more about just them.
A cult following.
Yeah, so like I couldn't get into them. If I'd listened to them beforehand, I might have had a chance to get into them before doing that, and then I'd understand. But it was because I kind of went there. It was just like turning up at a cult meeting and being like, "Wait, is this not a Mackey's?" Like, I came here for Mackey's, but it's a cult meeting. Okay, I'll just stand around and wait for Mackey's to reopen, I guess. And by Mackey's, I mean Shikari, because that was what I went for.
Yes, Mackey's the
Yeah, so you would have been at Enter Shikari when I was at Medina Lake, because that year I nearly didn't go, and then Medina Lake were there, and I was obsessed with them when I was like 13, and I was like, I have to go see them. They've like reunited, like they're terrible, but my heart.
Yeah. My main issue with it that year was that, like, because I'd only ever been to download, which is very like, it's very easy to find your way around once you're in the actual arena bit.
Yeah.
And because it was set at the uni, it's just loads of different buildings. But it's like some buildings are buildings you go into, some aren't. I got very confused. Like I wanted to see I Prevail, but I just couldn't find it.
See, this is what I mean about where it is now. Like, I think you will prefer it. I think because they've moved it into a field, I think that's what they were aiming for.
Yeah.
Like getting everyone into a field, and then once you're in there, it'll be like the main stage, but bigger, and you can just go to different stages or tents or whatever.
Yeah, because I went to try and see Ocean's 8 Alaska as well at Slam Dunk, but then because it was so hot that day, I remember. That's probably why you spent most of the day sat on the bar floor.
Yeah, it was boiling.
But it was so hot, and I'd just bought a drink. I'd paid like $5 or something like that just for a bottle of Coke, and I'd literally just opened it. I get to the Empirical stage, like, no, you can't bring that in here. And I was like,
yeah,
guess I'm not seeing them then. I'm not wasting this. I need this drink.
Oh, that was the year I saw Area 11.
Oh.
Yeah, no one watched them. There were like 5 of us there because it was on the what was it called? You know, like the breaking out stage.
Yeah.
Yeah, they played on there because they did like a competition for like new bands to play there, and you could enter and get people to vote for you. And obviously, because they've got like a massive following, people voted for them and they played. And I was like, well, I don't want to see anyone else at that time, so fuck it. And I went, and there were only like 5 of us there, and I was like, I feel so bad for you, but I'm enjoying it. Like, I actually know your music, so here's a bonus.
But if I suppose it's one of those, like, it's I like it when, like, because I've had some where I've been there and like it's a bigger band, but the crowd's been smaller than they used to, and they kind of turn their face down at it, and it's like, like don't do that. Like, 'cause I love it when I go to a gig and there's so few people there, but the band just like vibe with it.
They were having a sick time. They were proper vibing, and I was like, do you know what? Me and Alan were saying the other day, we would kill to play Slam Dunk. Like,
Yeah.
even if nobody watched us, we would vibe so hard with it. Like,
Yeah. No,
it
exactly.
wouldn't matter. Imagine being able to say we played Slam Dunk. It wouldn't matter what stage we played.
Yeah. No, exactly.
Where did you play? Oh, we're on the street corner outside. We're welcoming the queue in.
But yeah, because that when I went, I know it's not Slam Dunk, so it's slightly off topic, but I saw Chuggaboom at Satan's in Manchester, and there was about 10 of us there. But the band proper vibed with it, and to the point where the singer came out onto the floor where everyone was, and started going up to everyone with the mic, and we were all just singing into it with him, and it was great.
I was thinking,
I love bands who are like that.
I was saying to Sally yesterday, if you're gonna play a gig, always play as if you're playing to like 20,000 people, and you're just gonna make everyone's night. Like, don't hold back just because there's only 5-10 people there. Just go all out.
Yeah, I'd never hold back, but I'd use the opportunity as well to like maybe personalize it a bit more for the few people that are there.
Definitely.
Like,
100%.
Because that's the thing I love about intimate gigs and stuff like that, where you feel so much closer to the band and everything. Like, because as much as I love going to a gig where there's like, well, as an example, Download Festival, where you're there with 100,000 other people, it's great, but at the same time, like, it doesn't feel as catered to you.
Yeah.
Like there's more of a personal aspect of like going to like really small gigs.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like I've got kind of two examples of that, but like when I saw Wheatus in Manchester, like that was sick just because like it wasn't even a small gig really. Like I mean it was at Sound Control, RIP. But like it was packed, like, and like every single song, it wasn't a set list. Like he just shouted out and he was like, "What do you want me to play next?" And you could name anything from their whole discography, and he would just play it. Like they knew everything.
That's good.
That's really cool.
And like they've got like a ton of albums. I'm gonna like Google it. I'm sure it's like one sec. So yeah, they have like, as far as I can tell, roughly 10 studio albums, and EPs and stuff. And like he was just like, "What do you want us to play? Name any song, we'll play it." And like people just shouting out like any song, stuff like off random old EPs, and they were just playing it like they didn't care. Like they knew all of their songs off the top of their heads. And I was like, this is such a sick show.
Yeah.
And he was just bouncing around the stage. It was so cool. And then like the other one I was going to say, it was like more of an intimate feel, like Single by Sunday, who obviously I'm like quite good friends with Johnny. And like at one point I kind of followed them on tour.
I didn't know. She just kept turning up, like.
Well, no, that's kind of one of the points I'm getting to. So like when I was counting my tickets before, I counted 4, but I definitely went to more shows than that. I'm pretty sure I went to like more than 4 on that tour. But at a lot of their shows, like I'm pretty sure like either my I don't even know how to. Like, I think I lost my ticket, or like some of the they did like a competition kind of thing. And I don't really remember, I'm not gonna lie, but like some of the tickets were different, and at one of them I had like a lanyardy thing, and I've definitely still got that, but like the tickets were different at every different kind of show. And I think some of them weren't as keepable. Yeah. That's not really a word, I don't think, but I'm gonna roll with it anyway. And like one of them in particular, I think it was in Glasgow, or it might have been Birmingham. It was definitely out of my usual range. And like I didn't tell him I was going, and like I just showed up, and like in the middle of their set he saw me in the audience and he was like, "Is that Sally?" And I was like, "Hi." And it was just like the sweetest thing though. Like it is one of those things where it's like it gives it a more like intimate, friendly feel when like either the artists kind of know all their songs and they just like banter back and forth with the crowd, or when like they know like people who are familiar with their shows and they like kind of interact with them and stuff, and like when you can like surprise them, and it's like a nice feeling. Like I don't really want to say this, but like I had a similar kind of banter with one of the Road Trip boys at one point as well. And I don't really want to talk about Road Trip because we were talking earlier and we worked out that I'd been to at least 5 Road Trip shows, but it was probably more because a lot of them they took your ticket off you and like ripped your wristband. And I always had meet and greet or VIP. So I always had a wristband. But yeah, like a few of them I had banter with for a while, but then I don't know, they got a bit like egotistical. And like I'd like left the fandom, and I don't know, I was never really a fan, I'm not gonna lie. Like
I went, but I didn't like them.
Well, yeah, that's literally it. Like I used to go because I was friends with these girls, Sammy and Kirsty. We don't really talk anymore, which is a shame, but like I'll always support them. Like they were really nice. Say girls, like women. Like, no, but that's the thing. A lot of the girls who support, well, I guess now they would be women, but like at the time were young girls. Like they were a boy band, you know what I mean? Like a boy band. And like there were a lot of young girls around, so like it often felt a bit awkward to be there because at the time I was drinking still, and I think once I stopped drinking it felt a bit weird to be there because I didn't enjoy the music, and the main reason I was there was because I had this banter with like 2 of the members. Like initially it was with Mikey, and then there was Jack as well, and then it became like mainly with Jack, and it was just like this back and forth joke about my tattoos, and then there was this bigger joke about like the fact that he was like gonna get this stupid tattoo. Started off that he lost a bet that he was gonna get my name tattooed on him, right? This all started because he insisted that I had to get his name tattooed on me, right? And I was like, that's not going to happen ever in a million years. So then he was like, right, well, we'll rock, paper, scissors it. And if I lose, I'll get your name tattooed on me. And I was like, and I felt backed into a corner because he was like being all big man in front of Rye, who was watching. So we rock, paper, scissors, and he lost. So he was like, best of 3. So we did it again, and he lost. And he was like, well, what's your full name then? And I was like, so I told him, and he was like, what about your initials? And I was like, I don't want to say. Because like whenever I say my initials, everyone makes the like S&M joke.
Yeah.
I'm like, so I told him, and he was like, well, what if I get like Simon tattooed, but like make the I and the O small so it's still like SMN? And I was like, do whatever you want, I don't care. Like it's your body, mate. You're the one that started this. Like this was all your plan to begin with. But then like I only saw him like once after all of this, I think. Like, and then like the next time I saw him, I kind of came to him with this like counter offer, and I was like, what if we got like Jack and Sally tattoos, like from The Nightmare Before Christmas. I was like, that's like a get out of jail free option. Like, no one's gonna like associate that with me. It'd be a dope tattoo. Like, it'd just be chill. And he was like, yeah, let's get it done. And then like, I don't know, I just kind of stopped speaking to them all. So I don't know if he ever got it, but I doubt it, because why would you go and get it on your own? But yeah, and then like, as much as I've kept up with them, I think Mikey left first, and then Jack left, and then there was some sort of big blow up, and Mikey does some kind of YouTube videos. Jack definitely makes music. Rye and Sonny are really egotistical, and they do podcasts of some kind, and they make music, and they fetishize lesbians, and they're generally just complete dickheads. I don't really know what the other two do. Oh no, I'm not gonna lie, I don't pay that much attention. I like, they're just kind of on my feed and on our YouTube feed, and every so often I get vaguely caught up. And you know, when you see something and you feel obliged to look, you just get dragged into the drama. And like, there was this big kickoff the other day because they called someone a loser, and I was like, your ego is out of control. Rah, rah, rah.
I ended up getting notifications because of that then. Yeah. And I'm like, wow, okay. And then we went through it the other day, and I feel really bad for that lady. Like, she's done a lot of good work.
Yeah, like, I don't know. I'm not going to name her.
No, she took it, from what I saw, she took it very professionally, but really didn't deserve that.
Yeah, there were a few of them, to be fair, but like, anyone that I didn't get on with in the road trip fandom at the time, I like unfollowed. Some of them I even blocked, but like, there's a few of them who've always been all right, and like, I probably didn't follow them at all to begin with, or I did and I just left them to it. But like, they've put a lot of time and money into that, you know what I mean? And like, for them to be like attacked by those people, it's a bit like,
dick move.
Yeah,
it's like the lightest way I can put it.
But so, you know,
yeah. Moving on from Slam Dunk, we got other festivals and gigs to talk about, because we've literally touched on one thing and we've already been on it.
I mean, to be fair, like, Road Trip and Wheatus were on my list, so we have actually moved on.
Good. Well, like, while we're on that, Wheatus are on my list as well, but a completely different
go on then.
So it was 53 degrees again, RIP, because the building's there, but no longer really does anything other than for the uni.
Sad.
Yeah, I'm glad I got to experience it like when I could. And this is going to link into two, because two members of S Club 7 were there as well, because the other 5 just didn't want to show up for some reason. Not really anything to write home about for them, because, you know, when only 2 of the band show up, you can't really do much.
Yeah.
But Wheatus were absolutely amazing, and they had such good chemistry with the crowd. I was somewhere in the middle front. I'm gonna do this here. I was just doing a hand action. Somewhere in the middle front. Right, so there's the front. There I was. And partway through the gig, you know, like it's mainly done in like movies for like when women like throw the underwear on stage and things like that. Some guy thought it'd be really funny to throw his underwear on stage. I'm assuming this guy, because it was male underwear. It could have been a woman. Who knows? Comfort and all that. And it ends up hitting the lead singer. So at the end of the song, he takes it off his guitar, holds them up to the crowd and goes, I don't know why you'd throw that, because the profile on that is minuscule, and throws them back. So, but that was wonderful, because I grew up loving Wheatus, and I had their self-titled album with the like yellow blue checkerboard as well, and like there was, I don't know if I could still do it now, but I could then go through every song in order, sing all the lyrics, do all the guitar noises, and I absolutely loved it. And they pretty much played through that album because I don't really think they had another one by Teenage Dirtbag, which was really just an EP for one song with like another two on it. But that was amazing. Like, I absolutely loved it. Again, S Club 2, nothing to talk about.
I have something to add about gigs I've been to about 53 Degrees. But I kind of want to take a little sidetrack here.
Okay.
Speaking of like CDs, what was the first CD you ever bought?
Ooh. It's hard to say because my mum and dad, like, while they were together,
you personally.
yeah, I know, like they had a lot of CDs that I used to use. This is gonna sound really bad, but I think I know what it is. It's Ricky Martin.
Nice.
That's brilliant.
And it's because I really enjoyed the song "Living La Vida Loca," but there was like other songs on there. I think it's called like, it was a girl's name. I'm just going to say Chica, and then there was the Spanish version as well. But the only song I ever listened to on that album was "Living La Vida Loca." It got better after that because after that it was Bon Jovi Greatest Hits. So we kind of spectrum wise, I have to go that way. Went upwards.
Jacob, what was yours? What was the first CD?
Right, this is on a technicality because I can't think of the actual first CD that I bought for myself. But so on a technicality, I bought Green Day Bullet in a Bible for my dad for Christmas.
Okay.
Turns out he'd also bought it me for Christmas. So we kind of were just like, technically just bought these for ourselves, didn't we?
See,
so
that was one of the last CDs my mum bought me before I started buying my own, which is really interesting.
Yeah.
The first CD I bought myself was From Under the Cork Tree by Fall Out Boy.
Nice.
Good album. It was a good choice.
Very good
At
album.
the time, I don't think I'd really listened to them, and I just walked into HMV and I was like, I'm just going to buy this. Like, that was it. I was just like, not looking at the tracks, like, I'm just going to buy this. And I listened to it obsessively. And at the time, I knew all the tracks in order. I could sing every lyric. I was obsessed with that album. And like now, if you put that album on, I guarantee I could sing it through, like, easily. Like, I was obsessed. Anyway, I just think you can like, I just think it's one of those things, like, it's really interesting. You can tell a lot about a person by like what.
Yeah, Ricky Martin. What happened there?
Well, yeah, but like look at what you do on like karaoke and stuff, and like who you are as a person and how soppy you are and stuff. I think
don't tell people.
I think it like
I'm a gruff, mean man.
I think it like looking at people, like I think you can tell a lot about them and stuff. Yeah. Anyway, 53 Degrees. I saw the Blackout there, and it was the first gig I ever went to. And I was 15, and I was pretending to be older. And I got ID'd at the door. And yeah, I went with two other people who were younger, and they did not get ID'd.
Ouch.
Oof.
And my mum had to bring my birth certificate and basically showed it to the guy. She did not know it was a 16 plus gig. And the guy was like, okay, you can go in.
Should it look at the date?
No. He was just like, well, your mum's come out here with your birth certificate, so clearly you must be 16.
Oh, God, imagine if you read the date.
I was like, I don't know how that just worked. But
it worked, though.
We also got my friend in who'd been stopped at the door because my mum was like, oh yeah, he's in the same school year as her. And the guy was just like, oh, for fuck's sake, go on then. And he was like, oh my God, thanks.
So, tangent, because it's not actually to do with gigs, but you've just reminded me of like the amount of people that used to try that when I worked at Bargain Booze. The amount of people who would come in, try and buy like cigs or booze, and I'd ask for their ID. They'd give me their ID. I'd just look at it and go, yeah, you're not 18.
Yeah.
You give
So
me
you
your
know
ID.
what?
You're like 16. What are you doing?
That pretty much a reverse thing happened to me, where when I smoked, I wasn't 18 yet, but obviously having a late birthday, if you go in the middle of the year, they see the year and go, oh, 94. Yeah, you're 18. And then
Yeah.
they'd be fine with it. But then if they just looked at the month and went, hold on,
Yeah.
it's April. Like you've still got like many, many months to go. So yeah.
Yeah. One sec.
Okay. Well, while he's gone, I'm just going to add in that when I first turned 16, the first thing I did when I woke up was went down to a bargain booze and bought a scratch card. Like, and it's like, oh, are you doing this for your birthday? Like, yeah, I best bloody win. I didn't win. Like anything.
I bought a £2 scratch card on my 16th and won £2. So
Nice. Profit.
profit. No, not profit. It was the same amount of money back.
Profit. You got a piece of card as well that you had to give back.
But yeah, back on actual topic. So my first gig was also at 53 Degrees. Was
Nice.
that your first gig, Alan?
No. It was
No.
It's hard to say because we're going to move on to that in a bit, but there was another artist around the same time, but it was my first, I guess, gig that wasn't a local band.
Right, okay. Because my first gig was also at 53 Degrees, also when I was 15, and that was in Shikari.
Nice.
And then, yeah, since then I've been obsessed, and I've seen them like 15 times. So, you know, it should have been 16 by now, or even 17, but who knows, COVID and that.
Well.
But yeah, I mean, I'll rattle off some gigs that I've been to, but I'm gonna have to mention this just because it sticks out like a sore thumb. So I saw Chipmunk.
Yes.
When I was like 16, because I went to an under 18s night at Lava, which then became Evoke, which is now closed down.
Permanently?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh damn! I mean, good, because that place was like the venue itself, the building itself is quite cool. However, everyone there is under the age of 18 and are drinking, and it's uncomfortable as anything. Like, you meant to be in a nightclub for people that are 18 plus, and there's pretty much children there. But the building's cool. The building was cool.
Yeah.
I think
so
the only issue. Sorry, I'm just going to say this
really
quickly. I think the only issue with nightclubs closing down is that those people are going to flood into warehouse.
They're going to try. I think they're a little more.
I'm hoping they go to like Pop World, more likely.
Or Switch. Switch might be closed too. So
I think Switch is the one down the side street, isn't it?
It used to be.
Switch is the one
Switch.
The market.
It used to be
the market.
New York, didn't it? And something else.
Used to be Cameo.
Yeah, Cameo.
Something else.
What am I thinking of? There's another one that I'm thinking of.
Oh, Rift.
Rift. I was gonna say, I don't think that will close down because that's got a bar downstairs as well, isn't it?
Yeah, that's down this. No, I think that has closed down.
Really? Like, I went
think
to
that closed down before COVID.
I went to a 1920s night there. Was it 1920s? It might be 1940s.
Are you on about the one literally? If you come out of Evoke, turn left, go down the side street there.
The side street there, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, the only
pretty sure it's closed down.
There was the sign.
You remember like 2 minutes ago when I was like, just quickly.
Remember Rooms? Bounced by the Owls, that gif.
Oh god. That was the one that became Mac, wasn't it? Max.
No, Max was near McDonald's, and that's something else now.
Where was Rooms then?
Rooms was a very sticky floor across the road from Pop World. And the only reason I know it's a sticky floor is because I went there for one New Year before, as it just opened. We were the first people in, and I couldn't dance because my feet were sticking to the dance floor.
Was that just is that just like thingy now? Is that the one that's just like a pub now?
Yeah.
I can't remember what it's called, but yeah, it's just a pub now.
Yeah, it's just a pub.
Harry's or Hogarth's.
Something like that, yeah.
Oh god, Hogarth's. Oh no. The memories coming back of when I asked for a vodka Coke, and they gave me a vodka Diet Coke, but I was buying 2 at once because the
I
queue was really
nearly
big.
forgot we were recording and said something bad then. Let's keep going, guys.
So
But I had like, I ended up having like 6 vodka Cokes before realizing they were Diet Cokes, and then having a massive allergic reaction in Pop World. So that was fun.
nice.
Best work night out ever. Mainly because I got to go home early.
Don't have to deal with people you work with.
I think. Oh no, that was the point. So with my first ever gig being Shikari, because it was my first ever gig, so I kind of went in and then I got in my first mosh pit, and like my adrenaline was running so much, and then someone was like stood on the edge of the mosh pit holding their girlfriend, and they were like kissing and everything, and I got pushed into them, and then he just like squared up to me, and he was like, I was like, I don't know what to do. Like, this guy's like in his 30s, and I'm just there like pumped with adrenaline in the middle of a mosh pit. I just smacked him. Like, I've never done anything like that in my life before. I've never just hit someone. I was just in the moment. I just smacked him. I was just like kind of ran off because I, this guy was like probably mid-30s and I'm 15 and I've just punched him. But one that I do have to bring up, so I went to see Iron Maiden when I was like 16 at Manchester Arena. And basically what happened was I was the second row from the front, and there was this guy who kept trying to get in front of us, and I was with my dad. So my dad kept pushing him and telling him to fuck off. And he kept trying to do it. So he ended up having a fight with my dad. And then my dad punched him and he went away. But then my dad was like, oh, you know what? I'm going to go get a beer. Crowd surfed out. As soon as my dad was gone, this guy comes and starts on me again. And I'm like, oh no, what am I going to do? So he smacks me and I can't breathe. And I start having an asthma attack in the middle of all these people, and I'm being crushed. So these guys help me out and I get crowd surfed out. But as I get to the barrier, the security guard, like that's supposed to be at the barrier, helping people, was turned around watching the band. And I just got dropped on the barrier and broke my hip.
Oh.
So because I remember I got took. To be fair, I'm glad it was at like Manchester Arena where they have actual like medical staff and people to help. Like if that was at like a really small gig, then I'm not getting any help. But I remember being wheelchaired out there, and my dad had promised to buy me a T-shirt. So as I was getting wheelchaired out, I just went, I want that one. To the T-shirts.
That's just reminded me of a gig that I completely forgot about until now, which was at Manchester Academy, which is obviously near-ish MEN. But
it's not. It's the other side of Manchester. But go ahead, carry on.
It's nearer. It's nearer to it's MEN than I am right now.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, and it was my stepdad, and it was one of my stepdad's friends' bands. Like there weren't many people there, but he was like, "Do you want to come?" I'm like, "Yeah, why not?" And the thing that's just popped in my head is got given an MP3 player, and I hadn't put any music on it yet, but I wanted to listen to something on the way down. Luckily, this MP3 player came with 3 songs. I listened to one of them because only one of them was good, and it wasn't even that good. And it was just on about a car crash, and I'm there being driven down to Manchester, listening to a song about car crashes. I'm like, yes, this is going to be great.
Just listening to a song on repeat.
Yeah, there was nothing else to do. This was like at the beginning of smartphones. Like this was like.
I just remembered something.
If that. Go on.
So when my mum first started dating, like after my dad had died and some time had passed or whatever, she was dating this guy and he had kids as well. And like one of them was this cool older guy who was all alternative. And like, I don't know why, but like, when there's just someone who's older than you and cooler than you and you just want to impress them.
Yeah.
And I don't know why I thought it would impress him, but I thought if he knew that I listened to My Chem, he would be like, yeah, she's cool and alternative too. So like whenever we were in the car together and I had my headphones in, I would just blast the Black Parade on repeat because I knew it was really recognizable, and it's the only song I would play. I don't know if it was like one of the only songs I had on my phone, but I would just play it over and over and over again. And I just remembered that. Like I must have like blocked that from my memory. Like that had been like blocked. That was gone. And you saying that is just like
brought it back.
Brought that back, and I wish it hadn't.
Core
like
memory.
I could really have done without that memory, Alan. I was doing just fine without it.
When you
And now we have
were
that
a
memory
young
recorded.
girl.
Oh man. Yeah, so another thing I was just gonna say, because Jacob talking about fighting just made me remember. So me and Ollie went to see Avenged, Disturbed and In Flames in Manchester. And
I was there as well, just not with you.
yeah. To be fair, so many people I've spoken to about it have gone, I was at that gig.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so was everyone apparently. We went to that gig and we went to Satan's afterwards because we had a hotel. We usually get one after big Manchester gigs. And we were there and they had like the little room open as well that was heavier. And we were like hanging out in the big room mainly because like everyone was there, like Brandon was there and like all of that lot, and they were in the same hotel as us. That was even weirder. Like before the gig even happened, one of them, I think it was like Jesse, waved at us on Facebook, which was a thing at the time. And we were like,
at least it's not poking.
Oh no.
It was one of those things like whenever you were nearby one of your friends, it'd be like, do you want to wave at insert person? So like one of them waved at me on Facebook and I was like, what the fuck are they doing here? So it turned out they were like directly above us in the hotel and we were like, what are the chances? So then we were all hanging out at Satan's later on. But then at one point, me and Ollie went in the heavier room and some guy thought it'd be really funny to like drop kick me. Like I wasn't even in the like pity bit. I was just kind of dancing on the outskirts. And you know when some like dickhead thinks, oh look, that's the smallest, skinniest girl here. I'm gonna pick on her. So yeah, he came at me, not realizing that Ollie in the middle of the pit was with me. And Ollie just like picked him up by the shoulders of his jacket and like threw him at the wall. And I was like, because at the time Ollie was like beefy, like proper, like because he'd been working at Wacky World for like months and months and months, and he was just doing inflatables all the time and loading up vans, and like he was just built. And he just like picked him up because this guy was like proper like skinny, I'm in a checked shirt and like drain pipe jeans. And I was like the only person he could have drop kicked. The kind of guy who like spins in a mosh pit with his arms out like this. You know exactly the guy I mean, Jacob. Don't pretend that you don't.
I do.
And I just picked him up by the shoulders and flung him at the wall. And I have never seen a guy just like hit something and slump. And it's like the security guard just walked in, looked at us, looked at the guy, and just went and picked him up under one arm and walked him out. And I was like, sound.
We just went security guard.
Yeah, literally. And we just like went back in the other room and acted like it hadn't happened. I had such a fucking bruise on my ribs though. Like, because like he didn't full impact hit me, but like it hurt.
Yeah.
Like, but yeah, Ollie's like badass when someone hurts me. Like, it's like he goes like superhuman strength, and I'm like sick.
Yeah. Well, so wait, I've got a question for you. So with gigs, what's one time you can think of where the support act really surprised you and like just made your night?
Oh, I see. I can't think what gigs they were at, but the 100. I don't know if you've seen them, but like I think they've definitely supported Papa Roach. I've seen them a couple times. They've supported. Oh, do you know what? I've got a few. Right. So the 100, they were sick. Like I think they've definitely supported Papa Roach, but I don't know who else they supported. Probably Hollywood Undead because they're like quite rappy.
Yeah.
So I imagine it's those two, Papa Roach and Hollywood Undead. But they were sick. I don't think they're together anymore, which is going to be a theme here. So then, obviously, Shapes.
Yep.
They
I agree on that one.
They were sick, and they're not together anymore.
Yep. There's definitely going to be a theme here.
Yeah. Also, Palisades, who I don't think they've split up, but I hope they haven't. Because if they have, I feel like I'm causing this by enjoying support acts. The Wonder Years, technically they were
they were joint headliner.
Yeah, they were joint headliner with Mayday Parade, but I really, really enjoyed them. And that one was weird because I hadn't really had a chance to properly listen to them beforehand. I tried my best on the way down, but I forgot someone on my list. But anyway, moving on. But I hadn't really listened to many of their songs, and they were really good. Like, you know, when someone just portrays so much emotion on stage, and like there were points where he was just like on his knees and like breaking down, and it was just, it hit like really hard. But it was like really meaningful. And that was like crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's probably like, that's what I can think of for who was like really, really good. Good enough for me to off the top of my head go, like, these bands were like the support acts that without even thinking about it, like they were really good.
Yeah. So, well, I've got a few. So, first one is also not here anymore, which was The Defiled. They broke up. Unfortunately, so I never got to see them headline a show. Like, I had tickets to their headline show, and they broke up like a month before. But I went to see them when they supported. It was Murder Dolls and Black Veil Brides. Murder Dolls also aren't together anymore, which is unfortunate as well. But I went to see, like, I had no idea who they were. I went for Murder Dolls and Black Veil Brides, and they just completely stole the show. And like, I literally left there, and I was like, they're one of my new favorite bands now. So they were incredible. One for a very different reason. When I went to see Bowling for Soup, they were supported by Aquabats, which are like a pop punk ska band.
I was going to go to that gig. Like, I didn't end up going, but I was just going to go for Bowling for Soup, obviously. But I ended up,
that's what I did.
Not getting a ticket in time.
Well, I wasn't supposed to be going, and it was literally, I think it might have been on the night. My friend messaged me, and he was just like, "I've got a spare ticket for this. Are you coming?" And I was like, "Yeah," because I lived in Manchester, so it was down the road from where I lived. And then, like, Aquabats, like, the music was really good for one, but they were just like really interacting with crowd, just throwing inflatables out the entire time. I think there was one where they had an inflatable. I think it was like a inflatable banana or something like that, and he just rode it into the crowd. So that entire gig was mental, and that was like the highlight of my night. Like, Bowling for Soup were great, as they always are. Like, I've seen them 3 times or something now, but like that just made my night. And I think another one. So there was kind of a train. So Ed Shikari, one of my favorite bands that I'd seen supporting, because when they supported 30 Seconds to Mars, and then I discovered Hacktivist when they supported Ed Shikari, and they were amazing. And then I went to see Hacktivist on their own in Preston. One of the sport bands, huh?
Hacktivists, are they still?
Yeah, they're still together. Yeah,
good, because I want to see them.
I went to I went to this gig in Preston, and one of the sport bands was on. I was just coming back inside. I was like, oh yeah, these are really good. These are really good. So I go in and I start moshing to them and everything. I look up and my friend's on stage. And it turns out it's one of my friend's bands because I just moved back from Manchester at that point. So it ended up being my friend's band, and I had no idea that he was like in a band or that they were like that good or that they'd be supporting Hacktivist, because obviously Hacktivist are relatively sizable now.
Yeah.
And I don't think I said the name, but that band's Gassed Up.
Yeah. Okay.
Then,
what, Jack? Jack's band?
No. Oh yeah, Jack's band, but I'm not. So that's another weird link. So with our band, I think everyone apart from Sally has a friend in that band.
Well, I went to uni with Jack because he was in a band at the time called Dissonance, which I don't know if you heard. He did like Queen vocals and guitar, but he's top guitarist.
Yeah. So
my lad as well.
So is he the other guitarist in Gassed Up then?
He is. Yeah, he's
Yeah. So my friend's the other guitarist. Yeah.
Okay, so we know the guitarist each.
Yeah. Rob is a good friend from when I went to college, and then I think Ollie's friends with the singer.
There we go.
So we're all linked to that. I like the way that went from like just seeing a band that I liked, and then I was really into the band, and then I find out that it's my friend's band. But that was cool, and that was another one where like the supporting act really outshone everything.
With a thought of Hacktivist as well, if I'm thinking right, they're from Milton Keynes, aren't they? They're somewhere around there.
Yeah.
Because apparently, and I can't say this is 100% true, but I used to share when I was again in uni. The guy that I shared a flat with in the room across from me, a guy called Jacob, claimed that he was in Hacktivist before he came to uni, and ended up leaving it for uni. And then obviously after that, that's when they start picking up and start like doing bigger shows and stuff like that. I don't think they kept any of the songs that he wrote with them, but
how gutted would you be?
Because he showed me, and this is before obviously I knew who they were, and like before they'd actually become like as big as they are now. I looked and went, "Why would you leave that?"
Yeah,
and I think it was around the time that he was showing me when they'd just done like one of the small download stages.
Yeah, so I think that was either just before or just after I saw them for the first time.
Yeah. So if I was him, I'd be gutted. I'd be like, mate, I wouldn't have come to uni. I'd have stuck with that.
Yeah, because they supported Enter Shikari, because I think that gig it was Enter Shikari, Marmozets, Hacktivist, and Neck Deep. So like Marmozets, Hacktivist, and Neck Deep were all tiny bands at the time, and they've all blown up now.
Yeah.
And like that was what's it called? It's like indoor festival in Liverpool. I think it's like Sound City or something like that. That it's called.
That does sound familiar. It rings a bell.
Yeah, I think that's what it was called. And that's what it was. But yeah, so many good bands there, and then Hacktivist, obviously, because that was before they released their first album, and then they kind of blew up after that. And then I think now they're starting to release more as well, because I think one of the singers left, so they kind of lost a bit of traction, but they're getting that back now. But yeah, I think, and then kind of moving on from the support bands. So obviously we'll talk about festivals before. I go to Download every year, so that's not really like a specific one to talk about with that. It's just kind of a yearly thing now. Just go to Download Festival.
Yeah.
Regardless of the bands. The one year I didn't go was the year I went slam dunk, and I regret not going Download. But yeah, and then like bands I've seen loads of like big bands like Metallica, Iron Maiden, Limp Bizkit, Korn. Just a lot. There's hundreds. I'm not going through the full list because there is legit hundreds.
I'm going to take it away to a different genre. And in Preston, when Bass Hunter played Beluga, that was something. I'll say that.
I kind of wish I went to that. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, it was. It was definitely worth the experience, but I don't. The music's no longer my scene.
Yeah.
I will happily, if it comes on, I'll happily get up and dance and have a laugh, but I wouldn't go out of my way to see that kind of artist again personally.
Yeah,
and that's
it's in Preston, so it's not out of the way.
That's it. Like, literally, I was on a night out, and we kind of walked past, heard oh, what is it? All I Ever Wanted, and went, yeah, okay, let's go, and just went in from there.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't really a ticketed gig. So
Yeah, if I was in your position, I would have done that
yeah,
as well.
so I was like, yeah, there we are. I only know like that song, and there's one more that I can't remember the name of.
Now You're Gone.
That's it. So it was literally, there was those two, and the rest of them I just didn't know. I think he had something with the name of, with like all in it or something like that.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's the Dota one, but that's just they remade that into All I Ever Wanted, didn't they?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I know. I can't think of anything else to say really without just going into listing the bands that I've seen.
Well, I can kind of follow on from that. So obviously I saw Demi Lovato, for anyone who
if you're unsure.
That also relates to earlier when he said Demi earlier. It's the same thing.
Yeah. So yeah, I saw Demi Lovato in 2018 on her Tell Me You Love Me tour. Demi is basically my idol, so it was like the best thing ever.
This is after School of Rock. Is it School? No, not School of Rock. Camp Rock.
Camp Rock, yeah.
Camp Rock. School of Rock, Strike Black. I wondered why I was getting a bit of weird looks there.
Yeah, I was.
And Camp Rock too. It was after that one as well.
Yeah, she's basically been my idol for like forever, but it's fine. But yeah, so I saw her, and yeah, the reason this leads on is because Jax Jones was the support act, and it wasn't really my thing. Like, I got up and danced because everyone was up and dancing, but I'm not a big fan of like DJ sets and like that kind of music. But it was dope. Like, obviously they were trying to build up the hype, and I was like, yeah, I kind of get it, but like Demi's not really that kind of music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, obviously she does have some songs that are like that, but it was chill. Like, her set was amazing, so it was like the best day of my life, not gonna lie. It was great, and I can't wait to see her again, and that's gonna be the best day of my life again. But yeah, I guess, like, how do I move on from Demi? Let's have a look. I suppose Mayday Parade, that's a good place to go, because we talked about that briefly last week. But like, seeing Mayday Parade was like a big thing for the band because it started the band. Like, words. Like, coming back from that gig was like what made me want to like bring the band to fruition, and like made me feel very like needing to find purpose in my life, and making the band was like what I did, what came out of it. So yeah, and Mayday Parade is sick, by the way. If you haven't heard of them, go listen to Mayday Parade. But if you listen to us and you haven't heard of Mayday Parade, then I'll be very surprised. Also, I suppose I can follow on from the theme we were talking about earlier. I've seen Mallory Knox. It was their last show.
No.
I've seen Lower Than Atlantis. It was their last show.
I think Mallory Knox also played at Slam Dunk that I went to. I just didn't see them.
Oh crap! I've just clicked off my list.
Oh, no. Yeah, I think they would have played downloads that I've been to before.
Yeah.
Probably most of the ones we've talked about is if they've if they've played download, I was probably there. I just didn't see them.
Kids in Glass Houses. Almost forgot about them. They were pretty cool live. I enjoyed. It was around the time of the Lover album, so it was really cool. I enjoyed it. Yeah. It was good scenes.
I think
I'm not finished, guys.
Yeah, I was gonna say if you finished. If you're not, carry on.
I've seen Over Atlantic. It was the first time I ever met Soph. Soph is a great friend. I took her to Demi Lovato for a birthday, but they are no longer together. let me just see. Am I done? I think I'm done. I mean, some of my friends' bands aren't together anymore, but I still have bands to talk about, but not bands that I have given them the awful look of being broken up now.
Yeah. Well, if Jacob wasn't going to say what he was going to say.
I was gonna
No,
say,
I can now.
Jacob, you wanted to follow on from my like horrible histories.
Yeah, I was just doing something, so I'm being cautious of the time. So when you were saying about like that being your best year of your life and everything like that, so it was the same with me with Metallica, but the amount of stuff I had to go through to actually go to that gig. So the tickets had originally sold out, and I had to buy them at resale prices. But this wasn't like normal resale prices because it was the first time Metallica had come to the UK since 2008. So, bearing in mind, in 2008, I would have been like 13. So I wouldn't have been able to go. So that was the first time I could have ever seen them. But because it'd been so long, I think I paid 380 to 400 for the tickets. But then, so I bought that. But then the website I bought them from, they were a legit site at the time. Like they had reviews of people, loads of reviews of people who got their tickets, everything like that. But something happened with the site where they closed down. But instead of doing what most things would do and refunding, they went, nah, taking everyone's money and running. And they were under police investigation, so I never got the tickets. And so I went to my bank and I was like, yeah, look, the police are investigating this. It's clear that they've run off with the money and I'm not going to get it back. Can you help me out? And they were like, we can't help you out until you can prove that you'd never got the tickets. So that would mean after the gig. So I managed to find someone who lived in Sheffield who was selling 2 tickets. So I then had to go to Sheffield. I've like never been there before, to find this person who was working at the time, and I had to wait for them to like come out on break where they were working after finding them to get these tickets off them to finally get to go and see Metallica.
That's crazy.
So I ended up so that was another, I think it was 80 something each I paid for the tickets, or 90 afterwards.
Save some money at least though.
Well, no, because I never got the 300, the like 380, 400 quid back. My bank refused. So, yeah, fun times all around with that. But it was like I burst out crying as soon as they came out. Like,
yeah, I was like that with Demi. I cried the whole way through. It was so sad.
I think I managed to compose myself by maybe the 4th or 5th song.
I cried the whole way through. Like, she came on stage, I started crying. I didn't stop crying until we got outside.
Yeah, actually, you know what? I say I started crying when they came on stage. It was before that, because they have like the entrance music, which I've known from so many like times watching them online, that at the second that started playing, I was crying. Like, as soon as I knew.
Like a video, like part of a documentary on like a big screen, and I was like, I can't take it, going home.
I remember thinking, because when the lights went off and everyone started going like Metallica, I was like, just stay strong, I'll be fine, I'm just excited, it's just excitement, it's fine. Music starts, oh my god.
Yeah. Oh my god. So you've seen Metallica a few times, is that right?
I've seen them twice now. Enter Shikari is 15 times. Yeah, 15.
Times.
Just a few.
So are there any other bands that you've seen like multiple times? Is there a band that you think you could never see enough?
Enter Shikari, definitely. Avatar would be one of them, because I've only seen them, I think I've seen them 3 or 4 times. I've seen them 4 times now. But I only discovered them in like 2016, because they were one of those. So whenever I'm going to download, I'll be like, right, I've got like a 3-hour gap here. What bands are on? And I'll listen to them and just see if I like them. And then I'll listen to Avatar. I was like, oh yeah, they sound okay. I'll go see them. And I saw they just blew me away. So like they're like one of my top bands now. So I'll never get sick of seeing them. Dragon Force, I think I've seen 4 times. Couple of times were at download weren't the best. I think they're definitely more suited to being inside a small venue, but they are fantastic. Avenged Sevenfold I've seen 3 times. Bullet for My Valentine I've seen like 4 times. Bowling for Super, as I said before, I've seen 3 times. I think there's a lot. one of the bands who I'd never get sick of seeing is Mushroom Head, who are one of my favourite bands. But until I think it was 2016 or 2017, they had never played a show in the UK, and they've been around since the 90s. Like, they had played one festival in the UK, which was 2002. So, like, all of a sudden, they get announced that they're doing a UK tour in, like, 2016, 2017, and that was, like, mental. Like, I can vividly remember the moment it happened. Like, I know that I was sat on a bus. If I was going that way, I was on the bus to work, because I remember I was in Manchester. I was going past the Asda near where I lived when I saw the post. Like, it's that vivid a memory. But yeah, I've seen they've toured a couple of times now. Every time they will be a band that every time they come to the UK, I will go see them.
Yeah, I feel like I'm like that with bands, just with all of them. No, like, I've seen both Papa Roach and Hollywood Undead 4 times each.
Yeah.
And every time they come, I see them. And like, I get tickets straight away. I'm like, Papa Roach coming, Hollywood Undead are coming, get a ticket. And I always take Holly. And like, that's interesting actually. Yeah. Do you have like any like stories about like meeting band members or like just being awkward?
No, but I'm excited for yours.
So that actually, this follows on very well from what I was saying. So the first official meet and greet that I've ever done was for Mushroom Head, because when they came to the UK for the first time in like ever, they did full VIP tickets, so I got those. Met the entire band, had a photo shoot. But I remember it was supposed to be like an hour-long thing, and there was going to be all this time to talk with the band and stuff like that. But so they're a fully like masked band, so they had to spend loads of time doing their stuff. I think they got to the venue late, so by the time they'd actually got ready, they were going on in like 10 minutes. So it was a really rushed thing where they kind of rushed you in, took a photo, went, right, you've got like 5 minutes to speak to him, get some stuff signed, do whatever, hurry up. And then they went on. I think apart from that, obviously Gassed Up's my friends in the band, so I know all of those guys now. Well, I've met all of them. I met Enter Shikari when I saw them in Preston, because I went to the smoking area and they were all outside. But that wasn't really like a proper meet and greet. And I think apart from that, I don't think I've met any others.
Yeah.
Oh no, I met Mode Step after one of their shows. I went to see them. I think there's probably a few where like after the shows kind of went and saw them, maybe got a couple of stuff signed, but nothing like incredible off the top of my head, like, oh, I can't believe I've met my idol kind of thing.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, I was on holiday, and my mum ends up stopping this guy in the street to talk to him. Obviously, I don't recognise him. She's going all fangirly because it's the lead singer of Stereophonics. So she's all fangirling, and then when they say goodbye, she goes, "Do you know who that was?" No. It's the lead singer of Stereophonics. Like, all right, are we going to get food? I'm hungry. That's like my interaction with like a big band, kind of thing.
I remember after Slam Dunk once walking to KFC and someone walking towards us with a bag of KFC and only being like, oh my god, take my picture with this guy, and then suddenly going all cool and walking up to him and being like, yo, I really enjoyed your set today, it was like sick. And the guy was like, oh, cheers, man. And he was like, can I get a picture? Is that cool? So I took his picture with this guy, and I was like, I have no fucking idea who this guy is. Like, but I took his picture. I was chill because I had no idea who it was. So I was fine. I was like, yeah, this is chill. Okay. I was like, there you go. There's your phone. And I was like, can we get KFC now? And it was like the lead singer of Mice and Men. And I was like,
oh.
I was like, I'm not into that band, so I don't give a shit.
You know what's great? You know, so like obviously you're saying you don't know this person, and then literally you say lead singer of Mice and Men, and I'm just like, you don't know Austin Carlisle? What the fuck?
Well, yeah, but like at the time, I really wasn't into that music.
Yeah.
Like that was after like the Panic at the Disco year, when I wouldn't have gone anywhere other than main stage.
Yeah.
Like at the time, I really, really wasn't into like heavy stuff at all. Like at all.
Yeah.
Like I didn't even listen to like Older Bring Me at the time. Like I just didn't. So I didn't have a clue who he was. But Ollie was like, "Oh my god!" And I was like, "Okay, can we get food now?"
Was that picture on Facebook at any point?
I don't know.
Because why do I feel like I remember the picture now? I remember seeing that picture on Ollie's Facebook at some point or something like that.
I'll remember. I don't care. But moving on to my awkward stories.
I'm ready for this.
So we'll start small. I met Chris Bourne, which is James Bourne from Busted's little brother. He's pretty cool. I'm not. So I went to a meet and greet with him. I went to two actually. The first one, it was like you went and got a picture with him, and then you went to the show. Like the meet and greet was beforehand, and then you went to like the stage area, and it was like he was like, "Oh, you should all wear like UV paint and stuff," and I was like, "You know what would look really cool? If I just put like stripes of it on my cheeks and then put random eyeliner stripes underneath it." It didn't look cool, right? And then I drew hearts as well. I looked like a fucking kid, right? But then I was wearing like fishnet tights and shorts and a Motley Crue t-shirt. It wasn't my best look, but I was drunk. Right, and I brought Ollie with me, obviously, because I took him everywhere at the time, and we just got drunk all the time. So I took him, and there's literally, I'll try and show you the photo later at some point. I'll post it in the Discord chat, because like there's one photo where I'm clearly being awkward, and Ollie's watching, and his face is just like. Like so many times I've seen him pull that face at me and I'm like, I just know that I was being a dickhead. Like, and like basically I went to take the photo with him. Like bearing in mind we'd been conversing on Twitter for weeks and just having banter and stuff, and he's a really chill guy. He's a laugh. I think he's in some kind of indie band now, and they're probably pretty good because he was good when he was on his own. He's like an independent musician. And I went to take this photo with him, and he went to give me a hug afterwards, right? And I basically went, and they took another photo. And there's just this really awful photo of him like leaning in to hug me and me being like with my leg out to the side too. And it's terrible. It's just, you know, when someone really awkwardly one arm hugs you and it's just really apparent, yeah, I did that to him. And he's looking at me like,
right,
like, please get her away from me. And I'm like, oh my god, why am I like this? And always in the side of the photo going. And I'm like, way to record your idiocy. So yeah, there's that one. There's the Hollywood Undead after party in Satan's, which just went from bad to worse, honestly. So it started as they were all in like the little grove thing, and we went up and we were like, we met Charlie, and I was like fangirling because I was like, it's Charlie. And I was like, Charlie's just been a thing for a while. So this time around, it wasn't the most recent. It was the one before the most recent. And Charlie's been a bit of a thing for a while. So I was like, not going to embarrass myself. But we went over and I was just hovering. I was like, I'm just gonna, like, everyone else is walking up and speaking to them, and I just fucking hovered on the edge of the grove. I was like, it's gonna be my turn soon, but not doing anything. And then Ollie goes in and taps him, and he's like, can we take a photo with you, please? And he's like, yeah. So I hand Ollie my phone, and it's like pitch black on the screen. And Ollie just like takes the photo, and there's like, you can't see anything on the photo. And I just awkwardly run off. I'm like, can't speak, gonna run. So then we try and like lighten it a bit, and you can kind of, if you know who it is, you can kind of see it. If you don't, there's just a really grainy image on the screen. It's there's nobody there.
Oh dear.
So then they're doing their DJ set, and they're clearly just DJing for themselves. They're not playing rock music. They're in Satan's Hollow, and they're not playing rock music. They're like, nah, we vibe to like hip hop. So fuck you guys. But me and Ollie are vibing. We're like, this is chill. We'll dance to this. So I'm like, we're gonna dance in front of the DJ booth. Like, but I'm much shorter than the DJ booth. So I'm just there dancing. They can't fucking see me, but I'm like, yeah. And everyone else is like lining up and like pushing in front of us to get their stuff signed. And I'm just like, yeah, they'll sign my stuff in a minute, but they can't see me. And eventually Ollie walks up and grabs my ticket and hands it to them. And Funny Man signs my ticket. And I'm like, I'm going now. And then Ollie like drags me outside, and he's like, come on. So then we get to the end of the street, and he's like, look, it's Danny. And I'm like, okay. So I'm like, right, we're doing this. And I'm like, I got this. So I like storm up to him, and I'm like, there's a cat here. I'm like, right, I'm gonna do this. Stop at his feet, and I'm like, oh my god, I really love your band. I had the best time tonight. I've like been supporting you since like 2008, since you first started, and like you're my biggest idols. And oh my god, you've like helped me through so much. And like it just goes on right at his feet, like pretty much stood on his feet. Like I don't even know how long it went on for, but it was too long. And in the quietest voice, I don't even know if he heard me. Like, and then like after just the longest period of babble, I like really slowly just looked up, flashing mini ears and glitterful face and all, into this like built as fuck guy. And he's looking right down at me, like, because I'm like here. And he's like, thanks so much. So I shake his hand. Hello.
Me?
And then awkwardly just turn and walk off. And Ollie's like, that was pathetic. And I'm like, I know. Oh, hello. Do you have something to say? Did you get that?
Yes. I agree.
So yeah, I've had lots of really good encounters. I don't think I've like obviously I've met like all my friends who are in bands, and like
I hope so.
But like for big people, that's about it. And it hasn't been my favorite experience. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I hope they don't remember me if I ever see them again, because, you know, I don't plan on wearing flashing Minnie Mouse ears again. We all saw you put those cupcakes over there.
Yeah.
um,
Have I just
Thrown them out the window by mistake.
Yep, 2 secs.
Is he actually just throwing them out the window?
You're not allowed up there.
Kobe, come say hello.
You're in my headset.
Oh yeah, good point.
Hey, baby. Hi. I mean, he's just run off.
Yes. I hope he comes back through the window or something.
That would be funny.
That would be
It would
great.
make a great podcast.
Mm.
You're being a bit awkward. Can you just sit down?
Always bike.
I don't think he's quite realised he's on camera yet, which is hilarious because he loves being on camera.
He does. Look at his shiny face in the light.
Cobes, you're on our podcast.
I will show them who's in charge here.
Hello, baby. I love you so much.
Oh, he didn't put the cupcakes out the window. He went to get pizza.
That's rude.
I
I
know.
want pizza.
Are you sharing
Well,
that?
that was
mate?
really cute.
Are you sharing that?
What?
Are you sharing?
Yeah, with Jade.
Oh. I guess that means you probably want to wrap it up here then.
Yeah, so I've realised that it's like I usually feed my dogs at 5:30 and it's 7 o'clock
Well,
and I haven't fed them.
that's your fault.
Also, I must be like a million gigabrain because I was like, why am I moving all this stuff? And then my pizza arrived and I was like, oh my God, I must have known it was coming.
I mean, we have been going for like. Okay,
I think my cat wants feeding as well.
I need feeding. So we've been going for like 2 and a bit hours.
Yeah, to be fair, we've covered a lot and like.
Not all of it, but a lot.
No, and like we can always do another gig one at some point.
Yeah,
Or
hopefully an
tie it
update when
into-
we can actually go to gigs again.
Yeah, that would be nice. Let's do an updated one when we can go to gigs again. I'll keep my list saved of ones I didn't cover. And then I can refer back to those ones.
Yeah.
When we've been to some gigs. And maybe even played some. What are you doing?
I'm proud. Where's the
I
princess?
think he's realised he's on camera. Hi.
Well, I think we'll let Sally outro this then.
There you go.
Okay, well, this is Kobe, and he likes to be on camera, and he's beautiful. I love him very much. So, Kobe, do you have anything you'd like to add? I think he's hungry, so I think I'm gonna have to go feed my baby. Jacob has a food baby that he needs to feed. We will catch you next time. If you have anything that you would like us to cover as a topic in any of our future podcasts, please leave it in the comment section and we will be happy to discuss. If you would like to be in any future podcasts, contact us on Twitter or Instagram or any of our other social
I've got something for
medias.
this. Boom. Wait, I need to lean this way. On them.
And we will get back to you as soon as possible. See the comment section for links to our Spotify for our actual music because we are a band.
Are we?
In case you didn't realise.
and also for links to other small bands we may have mentioned in the video. By small, I obviously don't mean small. I mean like local / friends / etc. etc. And for anything else we may have talked about that we think is relevant. And with that, we all go to attend to our food needs.
Onward time.
Peace.
Yep.
We.